Hi everybody, Dr. Joe back with you again for episode number 10. I hope you enjoyed practicing part of the formula for heart coherence. It takes practice, just like anything else, to learn something new. And knowledge is the forerunner to experience. The more knowledge you have, the more prepared you are to do what you're doing. And as I said in our first episode, the more you understand what you're doing, and the more you understand why you're doing it, the how gets easier and easier. So don't be discouraged if you don't feel anything at first. I prefer that you understand that you are causing your heart to bloom over time. Now listen, I have watched enough people over the years practice this, and in the beginning they were discouraged, they didn't feel anything, they thought they weren't doing it right, they said, I don't feel any emotions. But if you place your attention in your heart, just think about a flower that blooms, picture a rose that's wound up as a bud. It's the life force that's moving through that stem that causes the rose to ultimately bloom. Well, if there's been no energy in your heart, if you haven't really learned how to practice or execute and open your heart, in the beginning it's going to take some practice. But if you place your attention there and you understand where you place your attention is where you place your energy, just think about you are giving your heart life. You're giving it energy. And just like that flower, if you keep giving it energy and you keep paying attention to it and you keep working with it and you keep practicing, teaching your body how to move out of survival and switch from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system, petal by petal, act by act, over time, your heart is going to begin to open up. And if it takes a little time for it to open up because it was bruised, or it was damaged, or it was injured, or it was shocked in some way, yeah, give it a little bit. You practice that breath. You practice breathing. You ask, can I feel a little bit more love? Can I take a chance and feel a little more gratitude? Can I open my heart to life a little bit more today? Can I give myself permission today to feel more of these emotions? Surrender to love instead of surrender to fear. I have witnessed people in this work reach a point where the energy in their heart has grown so much that they felt more love than they could ever feel in their entire life, and it wasn't coming from anything outside of them. And when you practice this process, and to get beyond your identity, to get beyond your associations to everything in this three-dimensional reality, when you learn how to get beyond yourself, you learn how to connect, create brain coherence, practice creating heart coherence. When all of this starts to line up and you start feeling that wholeness, you start feeling connected, I guarantee you all the things that you thought you wanted, you will no longer want, because you will feel like you already have them. Now, this is an interesting moment because people have reported when their heart and brain have become synchronized into order. They have said to me over and over again, I feel so whole. I feel so grateful. I feel so connected. I don't want anything any longer. I mean, how can you want when you feel whole? The second thing is they feel so whole that they no longer want to be anybody else but themselves. Imagine that. This is a key moment because when they run into this kind of energy, when they connect, that quantum field, that invisible field, at its core, at its source, is pure love. That 0 point, that singularity, that point that is connecting everything physical or material, where everything physical and material comes from, that at the very fabric, at the center of the atom, it's just energy, but it's very coherent energy, it's wholeness. There's so much order, there's so much wholeness at its core that if you divide it, there's still wholeness. It's impossible to create separation. When people run into this energy, when they run into this frequency, and we've seen this in our studies, in fact, we're actually able to predict, we're actually able to replicate, and we're actually able to induce this state with people now. And we've had universities come and study us. We have a lot of physicians and researchers coming and studying our work. And when a person gets into this state where they learn how to self-regulate and their brain and heart are synchronized, there's a dance, there's a rhythm taking place between the brain and the heart, and the brain and heart are synchronized, and there's order. Some people move outside of normal theta. In other words, they move into this realm of a door, in a sense. They move 10 times outside of normal theta. Their brain is in such a relaxed theta state. They feel so safe in the present moment that, like a horse, the body can rest in a position, almost in a light sleep, while the mind and the brain is conscious. That's a door. That's a world that you start to enter. And when we see a person move into these states and they move outside of normal theta, in other words, they're in an abnormal amount of theta, once we see them move into that state, there comes a moment where there's an arousal in the nervous system. And when this arousal takes place, they go into a brainwave pattern called gamma brainwave patterns. Now, in gamma, its definition is superconsciousness or super awareness. The arousal that's created in the nervous system is not coming from anything in the outer environment that would elicit fear or anxiety, that would create aggression or anger, that would cause a person to feel pain or suffering. That's the arousal that's coming from the outer environment, from the hormones of stress that drive a person into these high beta brainwave patterns. This arousal is coming from within them. There's a release of energy from the body up into the brain. And we've seen this over and over again. And the person goes into these coherent, highly organized, very high amplitude, high energy states of gamma brainwave patterns. Now, the arousal that's created, not being fear, not being pain, not being aggression, is a state of ecstasy. It is a state of bliss. The person has no words to describe it except they connected to something greater that has always been within them and all around them. They were just unaware of it. Now, this is an important moment because the arousal that's created is not coming from anything out there. The person begins to realize that the incredible amount of wholeness and love that they're feeling has come from within them. Now they're less interested in anything in their outer world making them feel a certain way. In fact, I always say, without a doubt, it is the most familiar, unfamiliar feeling you will ever have in your life. And you start connecting to these elevated frequencies, and the brain goes into these high states of gamma. The person is having a transcendental moment, a moment where whatever's going on between their ears is more real than anything that's ever happened in their past. Anything that's ever happened to them that moment, and the energy, the feelings that they have are so elevated that they're no longer interested in anything out there giving it to them. They're no longer seduced by their environment. They're no longer dependent on anything out there making them feel a certain way. They start looking within themselves for the answers. They start looking within for that connection. And now this is when they start developing a relationship, that divine essence that's both within us and all around us, that quantum field whose signature is wholeness, whose signature is oneness, whose signature is greater and greater degrees of order, pure love. That fear is not the opposite of love, it's the separation from love. That pain and suffering is not the opposite of love, it is the separation from love. That hostility and anger and aggression and violence is not the opposite of love, it's the separation from love. And when this occurs, they have this internal moment. I say it's a full-on sensory experience without their senses. In other words, the emotion that they're feeling when they connect, that level of love, that level of wholeness, is being integrated in the nervous system. That means then that they have an inner experience that is more real than any past experience, since experience enriches the brain, and it does, and since experience produces a signal to the body called an emotion, and it does, the feeling that they're having isn't chemical. It's not matter. It's energy. It's electric. And the arousal of this ecstasy or bliss, this incredible feeling, the alteration that they're feeling inside of them in that moment causes them to pay attention to the lucid pictures in their mind. And now they're branding new circuitry in their brain. And when they come back to their senses and they open their eyes, their spectrum of reality is broadened. In other words, we don't see things how they are. We see things how we are. And now they lay down new circuits to perceive what has always existed, but they didn't have the circuits in place to perceive it. And the feeling then of that elevated emotion through the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system now is the part of the brain that we've seen in our studies that becomes highly activated. And it's processing these organized, coherent frequencies. And the autonomic nervous system touches every single cell, every tissue, every organ in the body. And it's translating information through coherent frequency down on a cellular level. And the cell is getting new frequency and new information. And if all disease is a lowering of frequency and an incoherent message, in 1 second, those cells are being touched by a greater frequency, orderly, coherent frequency. The body's getting a biological upgrade. There's an upgrade in the biological system, and the cells begin to emit more coherent light and information. And so many people say, my body was filled with light. And now the field around their body begins to expand. The field around their body begins to become more coherent. They experience, instead of entropy or disorder or breakdown, as a result of the second law of thermodynamics, things tend to move towards disorder. They experience reverse entropy, syntropy, order. And now energy is instructing matter. And in an instant, there goes the tumor. In an instant, there goes the psoriasis or the eczema. There goes the tumor that was pressing against the spinal cord. There goes the mass in the breast. There's an instantaneous change that takes place because it's not matter that's emitting that field, it's the field that's actually creating matter. And now they have a new field that begins to select and instruct changes in matter. And so then when the person comes back to their senses and they feel more whole, they feel more loving, they feel more prone to give, they are more conscious, they are more mindful, they are more willful. We could say that connecting to that invisible force, that quantum field, the very essence of life, the more we connect to it, the more we become the consciousness of everybody, of everyone, of everything, of everywhere and every time. And we have to surrender our understanding of our limited self, the known self, to join the unknown self, to begin to connect to possibilities. And so the work then, in doing this, the formula that we have worked so hard to demystify is for you to begin to have transcendental experiences, for you to begin to realize that you can change your body, and people have done it numerous times, to change some aspect in your life by changing your energy, and to learn how to create from the field instead of from matter. And people come to this work for many reasons. Some people come because they want to be healed. Some people come because they want abundance. Some people come because they want a new career or a new relationship. But I've learned over the years now that people really come for one thing, and that is wholeness. And the beauty behind this is that when people start experiencing their own wholeness, that the work is about overcoming yourself. You can't tell me now you're too sick to do this work. I have seen people that were asked to go home and to prepare for death, reverse a terminal health condition, not once, not twice, many times. And there were days where they didn't feel like doing their meditations because they felt so sick and their body was struggling, but they did their meditations anyway. There were days they had a lot of fear because the doctors told them they were going to die within 60 days. And they could have surrendered to fear that day and not do their meditations, but they did their meditations anyway, and they surrendered to love, and they overcame a little bit more of their fear, just like they overcame a little bit more of their body when they didn't feel like doing it. There were days they had a lot of self-doubt because they didn't see their condition improving or changing much, but they overcame their self-doubt, their doubt a little bit more every day. There were days they could have excused themselves and said, I don't have enough time, I'm too busy, I have too many appointments, I have children, but they always made the time to do their meditations. And you can't say now that you're too out of shape or you're too overweight to do this work. I've seen it in all shapes and in all sizes. You can't even tell me that you've never meditated before, because some people who have never meditated just follow the instructions and do exceptionally well. And you can't tell me you had a turbulent past and can't do this work, because I've seen them transform into different people, some of the happiest people, and their bodies reorganized as a result of it. And it is the act of overcoming some aspect of yourself every single day. To overcome. The act of overcoming repeatedly causes us to become that very person. And when we feel so whole, and we are out of lack, and we are creating from wholeness instead of separation, that's when we begin to see the dramatic changes begin to take place in our lives, because we no longer need it. We're no longer in lack wanting it to happen. We feel like it's already happened. And creating from wholeness then is creating from the field, because it begins to cause us to connect to that field. And so I want to take you on a journey in the next few episodes to teach you how to tune into different frequencies or different potentials that exist in the quantum field, and learn how to connect to those frequencies. Let's say it's abundance. Well, people who want abundance, really what they really want is freedom, to do whatever they want whenever they want, to have the freedom to live a life without obligation. And so the sponsoring thought behind abundance for a lot of people is the thought of freedom. So we will tune in to different frequencies like abundance and freedom and create an event that's an opportunity for one experience of abundance, one experience of feeling more free. Let's see if we can begin to create real life effects as a result of you at cause. And so the next episode, we'll start to put it all together. If the thought sends the signal out with a coherent brain, you have a clear signal, and the feeling draws the event back to you if you have a coherent heart. If you can connect to that future event with your heart and create from the field instead of from matter, now you no longer have to go anywhere to get it. You play by a different set of rules. And if you are connected to Source, if you are connected to that unified field, if you're connected to the realm of possibilities, the energy that actually connects everything physical or material, and you're creating from the field instead of from matter, now the rules change. When there's a vibrational match between your energy and some potential in the quantum field, you are going to draw an experience to you. And now you are the vortex for that destiny. So I want to teach you in the next episode how to put it all together. I'll see you then.
Sit up. Eyes closed. And relax. Your body. Feel. Your body. and relax it. More. And relax. Into nothing. Into the blackness. It's all around you. And now it's time to awaken your creative center, your heart. Find it. Become aware of it. Feel it. Pay attention to it. Giving it life with your attention. And feel in the blackness. Feel your heart. Feel it. Notice it. Stay aware of it. Feel your connection to it. That's energy in your heart. In the blackness. And remember this feeling, your heart, and allow your breath to flow in and flow out. Through your heart. Slower. Deeper. And more relaxed. Keeping your attention your heart, and inhale all the way into your heart, and hold it, Let it build. And exhale. And relax into your heart. Feel it. Notice it. And inhale all the way to your heart. And hold it. And exhale. And feel into your heart. Feel it. Experience it. Relax into it. To your heart. And inhale all the way into your heart. And hold it. And exhale. And relax into your heart. In the blackness. Feel it. Notice it. That's energy in your heart. And inhale all the way to your heart. And hold it at the top. And exhale. And feel into your heart. Feel it. And relax into your heart. And inhale all the way into your heart. And hold it. And exhale. And relax into your heart. Feel it. Notice it in your heart. Keep your attention on it. That's energy in your heart. And now it's time to call up an emotion for your heart. An emotion that connects you to your future. And breathe and feel into your heart. Feel it with all your heart. And when you feel it, breathe a little more to your heart. Then exhale and feel a little more with your heart falling in love with life. And breathe breathe and feel with your heart. Feel it. Experience it. Enjoy it. And breathe into your heart. And exhale. And feel a little more with your heart. Feel it within you. And all around you. Tune in to the power of love. And feel it with your heart. Feel it. Experience it. Breathe and feel. It's all around you. Tune in and receive. It's your heart. The blackness. That's energy in your heart. It's all around you. Tune in and feel. Breathe and open your heart to life. A new life. Let it live in your heart and feel. That's energy in your heart. Feel it. Experience it. Your heart. And remember this feeling. With your heart. In the blackness. It's all around you. Feel it with your heart. Tune in and feel with your heart. And remember this feeling in your heart. Now, slowly bring your awareness back to your body, to your environment, and to this time. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the world of the senses. In this space and time.